Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Skinny Truth podcast. I'm here today with, again, Dr. Roller, my co-host, and we have a very special guest with us today that we are very excited to have, and I will let Dr. Roller introduce her.
All right, so this is one of our, current and going to be future all-star, probably our next most famous Instagram person next to Laura, but this is Mindy Daum, and she traveled to us from Illinois to Arkansas to have the duodenal switch surgery. And what we wanted to touch on this episode is get more of the more recent, the time period around surgery. Because Mindy, how long ago was your surgery?
August 21st of 2024. So okay, 4.5 months.
About 4.5 months. So awesome. And thank you for joining us. I know you've been listening, and we follow you on your Instagram page, and she's known as Mindy Switched It Up on Instagram. Is that correct?
Mindy switches it up, but yep. I think, I don't know. Okay. Maybe it isn't that crazy? I think so.
We'll double check that.
Find her because the content is really good.
Yes.
Thank you.
I guess the first question is, what made you start thinking about weight loss surgery?
I've been overweight most of my life, and my dad had weight loss surgery like 17 years ago. My mom had it about 11 years ago. My sister had it around that same time. And then she had the lap band and had to have a revision to a different surgery. And it was never an option for us because we had Walmart insurance. And not only would they not cover weight loss surgery, they would not cover complications due to it. My job was a parent for my kids because my husband's an over-the-road truck driver. I didn't have a full-time job. We didn't want me to have that, so I could be available all the time. I work part-time jobs. Paying for the surgery wasn't the big deal. It was if something happened, them not covering it. And so for years, I just never thought it was an option. I ran across Laura's page, and then somehow, and I don't know, I saw Dr. Roller talk about Walmart insurance covering weight loss surgery. And I'm like, to my husband, did you know this? He's like, no, I didn't. So that's kind of where and so then my husband has colon cancer. And so trying to figure out time frame, I was going to get surgery. I wasn't. And finally we decided for my mental health and for me being able to be a caregiver for him, which he doesn't require a lot right now, but we never know. I needed to get myself in check and take care of myself.
That's a great point. We just talked about that, Laura, about getting yourself healthy for your family.
For everybody else. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that is interesting about Walmart because they did start covering in, I think it was 2020. Oh, wow. And it's evolved over the past couple of years. And it's a great benefit now. I mean, it's the largest employer in the US, and they really invested, in their employees. And it's a life-saving and life-changing kind of benefit that they offer. So I think that's awesome. So what was it about Laura that you saw that you're like,
I saw befores, and befores, to be honest, are probably more real than the afters. So, if you're just seeing the afters, you're like, well, that's nice, but I probably can't do that because she probably started, 50 pounds heavy, or whatever. And not that 50 pounds isn't anything that you need to lose.
For sure.
But, my goal was 100.
But you have more.
Right. Mine was 180 pounds goal to lose. That just is very daunting. And of course, we see snippets of Laura thinking, oh, that probably was fast. And now you realize post-surgery it wasn't. But, it just was enticing seeing that she could live her life with her family and still get this done.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think those before pictures, like even for me, it's because when you are that before person, yeah, the afters look good, but the before is what you can relate to, right? Like that's, you see yourself in that.
Right.
And so you're like, okay, well, maybe I can do this too. So yeah, those before and afters, they never get old.
No.
Well, no, it doesn't. It's enough. I do feel like on social media, the afters, there's so much, fake news out there.
Yeah.
They're hard to, but it is really hard to fake the before picture.
Right. Right.
I mean, those are real. Those are always real.
Right.
Afters, you don't know. You live in Illinois, and then figured out Walmart covers it, saw Laura, and like, okay, I want to do this. Did you travel around with your husband before weight loss surgery? Or is it just here recently?
So he was diagnosed with colon cancer in 2020, and I'm guessing that might be why he hadn't heard about the weight loss surgery coverage, because he was on disability for a while. But last December, we spent a month in Texas because they offered that option for us to go work down there. And so I had spent a month in the truck with him, and we were like, either this is going to be wonderful or we're going to be seeing a lawyer when we're done. And it was it was wonderful. We both really enjoyed it. I missed getting to see him a lot when the kids were growing up, and both of our kids live, one in Louisiana, one in Dallas, and I'm home by myself now. And so the choice is me going back to work or me getting to spend some more time with him. So I try to go out on the road with him now at least 1 week a month. Sometimes it's 2 weeks.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What was the surgery experience like? For those who are wondering kind of how that
traveling went. Maybe.
Well, first of all, Walmart made it so easy. They covered a hotel. We went down for a couple days for our pre-op, stayed at a hotel, and then traveling for the surgery itself. We went to the same hotel. I think we got there a day early. Came to a meeting with a couple other ladies that were getting surgery. Most of them were getting surgery the next day. I think one of them might have been a couple weeks before that. Because of Walmart, I had to do the hospital. I couldn't do your surgery center. So I don't know if that'll change at some point for you guys, but went to the hospital. Yeah, for you guys. Yeah. I enjoyed the hospital because Aaron didn't have to take care of me in a hotel. So if somebody is local, that might have been easier, I guess, with doing the hospital. That way we weren't in a hotel not knowing.
Well, yeah. And our nurses at Northwest Medical Center they're top notch. I mean, Laura, you had surgery there. So.
Yeah, great experience. Yes.
Yeah, it was
wonderful. You're a nurse. So
yeah, they were all so good. Very knowledgeable.
Yeah.
I had a great experience too.
I did not have one bad experience in the whole surgery process. I mean, they were there for me when it came to trying to figure out how to drink, what to drink. I had no pain. Yeah. I honestly, the surgery I stressed about it way more than I needed to, but I think that's human nature, but yeah, it was easy.
That's what I always tell people. I'm like, the surgery's the easy part. Like it's after you wake up and you go home and you're on this 2-week liquid diet. Like that's when it gets hard. So
just so y'all know, when I was a fellow at Duke, that liquid diet was for 3 weeks.
Afterwards, or was it a week pre-op too?
It was a week before, 3 weeks after. The very first change I made when I got to Arkansas and started my own program was we went from 3 to 2. I was like, everyone, there's a sweet spot. 1 week, they don't like you very much. And then 2 weeks, everybody's happy they've lost weight. But if you put somebody on a 3-week liquid diet, they're back to hating you.
It is hard.
It is.
I mean, it was really hard for me. But then Luke flew. I mean, guys, he's like, this is no big deal. And I'm like, I thought my world was over with the liquid diet. So
counting down the days and the hours.
Exactly.
Like, okay, when can I have some yogurt?
Exactly. I know, craving things that you would never think about eating before, surgery.
Right.
So
what was the first thing that you ate when you got, and we don't do we do 2 weeks of liquids, but we don't do puree and all that kind of stuff. You get to go to food. Right. What was Mindy, do you remember the first thing that you had food-wise?
I believe it was like a ratio protein yogurt. I, for some reason, had it in my mind that I didn't want to do the meats and the eggs right away. I went very soft for probably even a couple weeks and then started adding in. But yeah, a ratio yogurt.
There you go.
And it was heaven. It was heaven.
The best thing you've had.
It was. Yeah.
So one of the really cool things that you mentioned earlier is that you ride around in a truck with your husband, and those are long trips, right? Long haul type. We're
gone for 5 days, so we sleep in the truck.
So, I mean, I see a lot of truck drivers, whether it's with JB Hunt Trucking or Walmart or Tyson, things like that. And we take care of them. And I think that's one of the hardest jobs. First of all, a lot of truck drivers need surgery. I mean, they're just very unhealthy. But it's the lifestyle. But when I watch you, and I watch your stuff all the time, especially on the truck, you have managed to make that lifestyle of being on the road and you're still able to do all the things that you're supposed to do. How did you decide that you were going to do it that way? And how have you made it work?
The consistency, definitely. I bring all my food with me for the week. I try to make it smaller items. So again, ratio protein yogurt. I try not to do like a protein shake, a protein bar, Quest chips. Like I try to make sure that's all I'm eating for the week. So I try to make meals that are more compact, cook them ahead of time. I'm a type of person that I can eat the same meal for 5 days in a row and it doesn't bug me. So I definitely try to be consistent, make it easy. That for me, easy is the key. Something that heats up well. And then usually Aaron will stop a couple times a week for me to get my decaf Starbucks so I can have my shake. So it feels like a treat without, feeling locked into, whatever. So I think the hardest part for me on going on the road is the exercise because we're moving in the truck. We're sitting a lot. So when he stops at a store, I might go in and walk around as much as I can, or I might walk up and down the parking lot, while he's doing his stuff.
So preparation, I think, is everything. And that's where fast food came in handy, whether you're on the road like you are, or you just work a busy job at some big corporation where you have 15 minutes for lunch. That's where people would go and get something fast because they did not plan ahead. They did not bring something from home to eat. And that's where bad choices start to happen. And I think it's recognizing like what your lifestyle and your job requires. So I love that you do that where you pack it for 5 or 6 days ahead of time. So you're never stuck, where you're forced to make a bad choice. I think that's brilliant. That's what I tell all the truck drivers.
Yeah, I think the easy is key too. Like making sure, you see sometimes recipes that have like 20 different ingredients in it. And I feel like the easier and the more simple you can make things, especially in the beginning, it's just the easier it is, especially with tracking your protein and knowing exactly what you're getting in. So that's great.
Mindy, what's like just an example of a go-to easy on the road meal that you do?
Actually, one of them I like is one of the support group that I think Ellie maybe did. It's like some sausage with some cabbage and spices. It's like a Cajun cabbage. Once you're past the 6 months, you can add the noodles in, but I'm not there yet, so I just do it without the noodles. That's good. A lot of times I'll do like some tuna packets with some cottage cheese and take some seasonings with me and mix those up. Now that I can have the Quest chips and stuff, sometimes I'll do like cottage cheese with some seasonings and use that as a dip. I also made I made it for both Christmases for our families and everybody loved it, a taco dip with cottage cheese and the super lean ground beef and some cheese that fits into what we can have. And I made that. So just stuff that's easily heatable and doesn't take up space. So those are some of my go-tos.
Awesome.
Sounds yummy.
Do you find that you're much more knowledgeable about food and what you're putting in your body now versus before?
Actually, it's kind of funny. I started as like a Beachbody coach and I've done all the diets. So, you read all the books. I've done Whole30. So I thought I was knowledgeable with all that. I actually have taken a step back and just make it super simple. And I worry about my protein and my fat and my sugar grams. And I leave it at that. I have really tried to dumb it down the easiest I can. And we were gone for over 2 weeks for Christmas and I was successful and I just made it easy. So I don't know if I'm smarter with food. I'm just taking the anxiety away from it pretty much.
That's great. Yeah.
Phenomenal. How much weight have you lost in 4.5 months?
70, like right at 77.
Wow.
That's awesome.
So that's amazing.
And I lost 5.8 pounds over the weeks we were at Christmas and New Year's. And I said to Aaron this morning, I lost 5.8 pounds and it was over the holidays. He goes, and you traveled. I never could travel and lose any weight until lose almost 6 pounds. So
yeah.
That's
and you
great.
had the modified do a deal switch, correct?
Correct.
What about clothes fitting? How How's
They're-
that going for you?
I told my husband yesterday I can't wear this sweatshirt anymore that I had on the at the airport because I looked homeless. I mean, it was like baggy on me. I need to go out and invest a little bit in a wardrobe. So yeah, they're definitely
couple new
fitting
things.
better. Yeah. Well, I
That's
don't know if you
exciting.
guys saw, I posted, my son-in-law got me a t-shirt.
I did.
Said he's my favorite child. And when I got it, I didn't want to wear it because it was just so uncomfortable. Well, we went and played pickleball this last week and I wore it and I was swimming in it. And so
Yeah, you look great.
I told him I'm going to have to get a pillow made out of it or something when I just
Yeah,
can't
there
wear
you
it
go.
anymore. So
Yeah.
It's a great idea. You take all the old clothes and make it into a blanket.
yeah.
That is.
Yeah.
So
Well,
what's one piece of advice you would give someone? Let's start with that doesn't live close, that lives further away, that's thinking about going to Dr. Roller for surgery.
Probably just make sure, like with your insurance, what your limitations are. I didn't really have any, so it worked out well, but just make sure that you know what you're getting into with that, and check like whatever hotel you're staying at, because we had a fridge and I brought a cooler, and I'm glad we brought a cooler because the fridge was kind of wonky. So just make sure if you're not flying, to bring whatever necessities you even think you don't need, just to make sure you're equipped so you don't have to go run out and get stuff while you're there.
A lot of our patients are now going kind of the VRBO route too. And being in Fayetteville, Arkansas, where there's a lot of VRBOs because of Arkansas football and basketball and, the college, the university setting where people are coming into town a bunch. And, so you get access to just little things like washer dryers and,
right.
Beds and things like that. And that probably is the hardest part about travel, but it's a week of your life, right?
Yeah, it was
it's a
easy.
Week of your life.
I was actually getting out doing way more after day one than I thought that I would. I thought I'd just be laying in the bed, but no, we went and drove around and would go on walks, and we'd make sure we weren't walking places I didn't have a chair to sit somewhere or whatever if I needed it. And I really didn't need it. I got tired, but other than that, it was good.
Well, we definitely cannot, we couldn't be more proud of you.
Oh, thank you.
It's been, and I really do appreciate, I've really appreciated this about Laura putting her journey out there, and now you doing the same thing, because you're helping people that you don't even know that you're helping, and you're showing that there is hope and you can do this. And, you saw Laura and, because of that, I got to meet you. So I'm thankful for that. And you've done phenomenal. So thank you for putting it out there and helping others.
No, it's been great. And the community that you get to, the people that message you and the things that they ask you and talk to you about, it's like, I was doing that with Laura. So it's kind of like I get to pay it back for, I'm sure she's like, how many questions are you going to ask? But,
Oh, no, never. It's so nice to connect with other people that understand what you're going through. And you don't feel alone.
No.
And social media is just, while there are some negative things to it sometimes, there's so much positive around it, and it keeps you going on the hard days, honestly.
It does.
Yeah. Well, I would say this right here is proof of how social media can be positive and what it can do to change people's lives.
Oh,
incredible.
Well, thank you for joining us. We appreciate you taking some time, because I know you got in really well, I guess early last night from Texas. So I'm glad you made it back. But to all our listeners, big congrats to Mindy for 77 pounds in 4.5 months. It's a huge accomplishment. We'd like to say thank you for listening to us and tuning in. As always, you can find us on YouTube, Spotify, or the podcast channel. We'll continue to put out content like this and bring amazing people like Mindy onto the show. So thanks for
joining, Mindy.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
See you later,
Everybody have
guys.
a great day.